How might your life have been different if there was a religion for you? A religion that affirmed you as a woman, as equal to man and made in the image of God. A religion that acknowledged your menstrual cycle as a sacred part of creation, your body and sexuality blessed, and validated the feminine voice of God as the most highest, and the care and sustainability of natural resources and non-human life as the highest goal of mankind. How might your life be different? Welcome to Heretica, her eco-feminist theology educational podcast. My name is Eleanor and I am the podcast creator. A little bit about me. I had spiritual experiences from a very young age. Age 10, I had an out-of-body experience. Another spiritual experience at age 13, and in my early 20s, this all culminated into an existential crisis, which led to me seeing an anthropomorphic vision akin to iconography between wake and asleep, the dream state, in December of 2008. This led me to search for understanding, which resulted in me completing a Master's in Religious Studies in 2021-2023, where I explored feminist theology and existential health, deeply embedded in ecology. In 2023-2024, I also added a Master's in Gender Studies just to deepen my knowledge around gender and justice issues. For 2 decades, my journey revolved much around yoga, studying the related ancient text and Ayurveda. And although that was massively helpful, and the tantric teachings, especially those related to women's menstrual cycles and connection to the cycles of the moon, were very insightful and aligned with my devotional nature, I always had a sense of something missing. Inspired by my Ayurvedic knowledge of how staying connected to cultural traditions and practices of my country of origin and religion equaled health, I sought to find the equivalent of what I had discovered in yoga. I come from a Greek Cypriot and Orthodox Christian cultural religious background, so I began to look into ancient Greek women's practices. There I was drawn to the ancient Greek women's mysteries, like the Thesmophoria and the Eleusinian mysteries, steeped in goddess worship, imagery and rituals around women's fertility, menstruation and the sacralization of them. From there, and prior to my Master's, as I was contemplating what to study, I found myself between theology and feminism. So I thought, let me check out if there is some way that I can combine them and study. Unbeknown to me, feminist theology was already an academic discipline. Researching further, I came across the Gospel of Mary Magdalene and was enamored to find out how she was the first disciple and was also a woman to see a vision of Christ, and was referred to as the apostle of all apostles. I've never heard of Mary Magdalene referred to as a disciple, only as the prostitute, and this was a major revelation. I wonder what else there is, I questioned. So during my theology studies, and as my knowledge grew through research, I came across a concept called fuses, which is essentially women who are Christian but are interested in identifying with the feminine voice of God, and hence combine traditional Christianity with goddess worship, which extends to Hellenic influences from deep time, Gnostic heretic texts as they are considered in Christianity, such as the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, and they reinterpret traditional Christian texts of the New and Old Testament through feminist language. This inspired my work and, of course, my place within theology. And of course, this podcast is an expression of this fusion, including further exploring environmental concerns. So if you find yourself being like me, and more so, you identify as a woman of faith who through the years has had an exceptional ability to perceive subtle realities, who sees the invisible, who can read between the lines and sense when people say one thing but mean another, you can discern certain patterns of behavior, or you can anticipate what is to come next, are ultra-sensitive to emotional undercurrents, and you have struggled to fit into this world, but gave it a go, and only to find that it makes things worse. Only then to be pulled back into theology and spirituality for answers and solace, and as the only thing that makes sense. Yet, traditional theology also creates an existential angst, until you found the feminine voice of God. If that's you, then this podcast is for you. Welcome to Heretica, where we fuse traditional Christianity with goddess spirituality as her ecofeminist theology.